Hi, I'm Karen from Silvon. I'm going to share some action items for Stratum administrators to do when you start using Stratum 7.5. These simple tasks help make sure you and other users get the most out of Stratum 7.5 features. Things like the new Stratum glossary and dynamic filtering and views that's done with attribute relationships. A quick reminder that details about version 7.5 can be found in many places, like Stratum Help, CustomerNet, and your Stratum homepage. The first few action items are for the Stratum glossary. That's where users can look up details about things in their Stratum data model, all the data they might see in views or use to build views, which are also known as reports. I'm looking at the glossary details for a return units measure item in the view shown here. The version 7.5 upgrade populates the glossary with basic default descriptions like these. You should customize them so they are more meaningful to your community of users. I adjusted my default descriptions to what's shown here, for example, to explain what the actual sales data represents and where the budget data came from. Use the Edit button next to items in the glossary to change their descriptions. Measures, levels, and attributes are some of the things for which you can set up custom descriptions, and you should do the same for calculated measure items in your views. Here's a meaningful description that I set up for one of mine. It tells users about the expression behind the results. Another action item that impacts the glossary and other parts of Stratum is deciding what data should be enabled for use in Stratum. Ask yourself, what measures, levels, and attributes do users need to access in reports? And what items have meaningful data for users to analyze? Your answers affect what can be added to views and what shows in the glossary. Typically, only items with meaningful data are ones you'll make available, and only the available items will show up in the glossary when the Viewer Availability Filter option is selected. That's the default state. Review data in Dimension and Measure Maintenance. I did that in my environment, deselecting some items that don't currently have meaningful data and that I don't want added to views. Glossary content is streamlined for my users in this filtered state. Next up is reviewing the data type property for attribute relationships. This new property tells Stratum to treat their values as text or numbers. That influences how values are sorted, filtered, and formatted in views. The 7.5 upgrade sets all to text, as shown here. You should change the property to number where needed. For example, using the number option for attributes that have numeric data leads to more meaningful filter results. This product long description that filters my view has text values, so I left the type set to that default of text. The current list price has numeric data, so I set that one to number. The sort and the filter that I applied there treat the list price values accordingly. For attributes used in existing views, you'll have to adjust their setting for number versus text from a properties window in the view if needed. Changing properties in dimension maintenance, like I did earlier in this video, won't affect attributes in existing views. The rest of this video has reminders about some interesting new features for views, and the action item here is to try them out. Make them part of your Stratum skill set. Use them to enhance the experience of working with Stratum views and to build new types of analysis, like a Key Performance Trends report. The first thing to try is adding key performance indicator data to your performance monitoring views. That's done with a new Count Members function and a new KPI property for measure items with time ranges. Count Member is new to the set of Stratum functions. It makes it easy to count things like the number of products sold by ship-to territory in the current month. When I added the count calculation to this view, all I had to do was choose that Stratum function, then pick the level and measure item for it. Add other types of KPI data to your views with this new property for regular measure items. A simple adjustment to the Display Value As property helps you create a view with insightful performance monitoring data focused on KPIs like min, max, variance, and standard deviation. The next action item for you is making use of enhanced drill-down view linking features for measure items. Each measure item in a view can be linked to a different destination view. I did that here to give users additional insight about sales data. This measure items link takes me to a view that compares sales results to the budget plan. Notice that the destination view has been filtered by the value that I clicked on in my original view. A final action item centers around a new property for calculated measure items. It's called Include in Relationship Filter. Use the default option of No when you set up new calculated measure items. That means the calculated measure item will not be used as part of the relationship filter for the view, and it gives you a more optimized result set, especially when the calculation uses an attribute relationship. In this view of mine, the extended list price, standard cost, and cost difference are examples of calculated measure items where the property I just told you about should be No. All of the calculations use attribute relationships. I also gave all of them custom descriptions. Here is the one that I set up for extended list price. Here's the full checklist of admin tasks that I've told you about, plus the recommended new features to try out. Check things off the list as you start using Stratum 7.5. Then explore the glossary and various view enhancement features highlighted in this video. Reach out to Silvon with questions and check out the Admin Notes and Action Items What's New document on CustomerNet for more details.